Hello, hello, and welcome back to episode 89 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I'm James Parisi here with my awesome co-host Aiden Sarah, and man, it's been a while. We've had a lot of summer, and dude, I'm so stoked to hop on and catch up on all of it with you.
Okay, look, we should break this down. Like, I think end of June was our last episode, so I'm gonna ask you first, give me the first 2 weeks of your July,
Okay.
and then I'll do my first 2 weeks, and then we'll do your last 2 weeks, and then we'll do my last 2 weeks. Because otherwise, I think we're just gonna be yapping for like 5 to 10 minutes at a time, and that's gonna get to be a lot. So tell me how your July started, because that's where our hiatus kicked off, was beginning of July.
Well, have we done so many hiatuses that we have to start saying the word hiatus? Is that a word?
Is that the plural? I guess so. It has to be.
It's got to be. There's nothing else. Man, did Faded in the Park again. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, took the girlfriend for her first festival and got to see a really cool like progressive house artist named Lane 8 who I listened to a lot years ago. I didn't go for the big shows. I did all the side stage stuff and that's not usually like me. I mean, I did a couple of the main stage on maybe the first day, but I kind of changed it up a little bit. Because I mean, I've seen a lot of these artists now, and it's nice to get a little bit of a different experience. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then I had an awesome, awesome time with cooking in July as well. Because I had one of my buddies drop off a couple really, really nice sockeye salmon. And man, they're fresh caught from the ocean, and I just had a time cooking them. I did like a teriyaki salmon stir fry, threw a few on the barbecue, did them up with like a maple glaze. It was awesome. Great time. But I think a lot of July was also spent just chilling. I think like just like getting through work, getting through the day, and just routine kinds of things. But I think the worst thing that I did to start July and for a couple weeks there was I became a Starbucks addict.
Yeah.
I was running to Starbucks for like a daily dopamine pickup. It was rough.
Well,
Like, dude, do you know what 2 weeks of Starbucks every day costs?
I, dude, what? Like, it's gotta be. I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. We have to be talking like a week straight. You dropped $120, something
I,
like
I
that.
think I was at 170.
Oh God.
Uh,
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah, I got the notification on my finance tracker on my phone. It was like, you seem to be spending a lot of money at Starbucks. And I was like, oh, if it's saying that, I got to stop. We're done here. And the worst part, I don't even drink coffee anymore.
What were you drinking?
Dude, ice peach green teas. Yeah, I'm way on ice peach green teas, but not anymore. We're done with those for a while.
That's
Done for
fair.
for a hot minute. But
That's
yeah,
fair.
give me your first couple weeks. What does the start of summer look like for you?
Oh, so I got to work. I got to. I I got to work the Brick Invitational tournament. So if you
Mm.
don't know what that is, it's the premier U10 tournament. I know that sounds like ha 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 very funny. These are 9-year-old kids. But if you go back and you look at this tournament historically, it's been going on for 25 years. You can pick out NHL superstars that have gone through this tournament, right? There's highlights of Connor Bedard, of Austin Matthews. The Hughes brothers played in this. Yeah, there's highlights of the Kachucks playing. There's highlights of Macklin Celebrini playing. Like so many of the guys that were high end prospects in their late teens were also high end prospects 8 years before they were drafted. Best player in this tournament was a kid named Hudson Burke, and he for Toronto capped it off with a golden goal in overtime. Um, and so in 8 years, when this Hudson Burke kid ends up getting drafted into the NHL, you heard it here first. So that was the first week of July, was a lot of cutting up those videos. I have all of these Brick Invitational videos still on my computer I need to get through.
How does
Um,
it feel to cut out videos of 9-year-olds?
yeah, the hockey was good, dude. Like if the
Really?
hockey was poor, it would have been a little bit, a little bit more tedious. But for the facts, for how young these guys are, and the tournaments in West Edmonton Mall too, so it's just an aesthetic of doing highlights. for that is so different, right? Like it's so funny to have the literally, dude, like in every clip you can see the stores around the stores around the rink, and HN Live had a super sweet setup there with a bunch of different cameras, so it gave me a lot of different footage to sort through. After that was done, I hung out at my grandparents in Oliver, Okanagan trip. Um, again,
How is Oliver? Never been.
it's nice. It's the quaint, quiet, small Penticton, right? The lake there is tiny. Um, older populace there. It's a good slow down and put your feet up spot in the Okanagan if you don't want the Penticton or the Kelowna mass crowds.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Are we taking it further into July now? I'm trying to think what did I do further into July?
Yeah, what was the back half? In the first half, again, I always say like, oh, as we've mentioned, I don't know exactly how many recurrent viewers we have. So if you don't know this, my whole family's from Portugal, and that means that as much of a hockey fan as I am, getting raised into soccer is very prevalent as well.
Hmm.
I'm as big, if not a bigger fan of the Portugal national soccer team as anything else in this world. And they won their third trophy as an international federation at the start of June. So I was absolutely ecstatic. June 8th, they beat Spain in the Nations League final. So that was an absolute highlight of the beginning of June for me. Um, and it feels prudent to talk. A couple weeks later, that team we lost one of our guys. We lost Diogo Jota in a car accident, and that absolutely shook me to my core, man. Like obviously this isn't a video podcast, but behind me, I've got a jersey picture of him up over there. Like that, me and James were talking about it on the phone. That shook me the way the Johnny Gaudreau did last summer, and it's a good reminder that, you're watching these guys play for your teams. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted at all. For one reason or another, these guys aren't going to be playing the sport forever. And when you really love watching somebody play, enjoy it.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Um, I think I think the way that those deaths hit you though, it's something worth remembering. It's something that makes life feel a little more precious. Like, I mean, time's not really promised. So, especially when you have a summer like this, a summer that's not so wildfire dominated, the summer that here in BC, like it actually feels pretty peaceful right now. It's worth going out and enjoying with your loved ones and everything. And I mean, that's kind of what I did in the back half of July. I didn't really do anything all that
Mhm.
special, but like my girlfriend and I went to like a Greek fair and had sangria and souvlaki and danced around and shop for little knickknacks. My friends and I met up to shoot some pool and go to a happy hour a couple times. We went to a really cool cocktail bar in Yaletown called Bartholomew, one of the coolest interiors of a restaurant I've ever seen. And yeah, shooting pool at Soho in Yaletown as well. Good times. And I mean, just uh, I've been back in my hobbies a lot as well. A lot of trading cards, a lot of collectibles, lots of just like flipping through comics and CDs and records and everything. Just it's just so fun to look around and dabble in all that stuff. I mean, if I jump ahead and take it to this last week, I'm in Sprout Lake, BC, at my grandparents' lake house right now, and it is fantastic. I'm actually recording from right in front of the lake on an outdoor couch, just looking out at the water, watching a houseboat go by right now over some water that just looks like glass. And it's perfection. You got to do things like this and with your friends and family and people you love. That's the best part of life. Like if you were listening to this and you haven't booked off a weekend or a few days this summer and you've been working your bag off just trying to make ends meet, I don't care how hard up for money you are. There is a way to book off a day and go enjoy this weather with some people you care about. It is worth it. You need that medicine for the soul. I was in a little bit of a rough spot for a bit, getting real frustrated, just, not stoked on everything. And This is exactly the medicine I needed. I jumped in some water. I hung out with some dogs.
Nice.
Hang out with a dog and go for a swim. There's nothing better for your mind and body that you can do. I swear. I swear. Like Aiden, can you think of anything better? I can't.
Well, and you're speaking from the perspective of somebody who lives where you live in British Columbia
Oh
too.
yeah.
And so as we're talking about this, whatever's around you, in one way or another, you're lucky to have it there. Like if
Mhm.
I'm going back to Calgary in a month, for the hockey season again. And while I'm here, we've got Vancouver close. I live a kilometer away from the entrance to Golden Years Park here in Maple Ridge.
Still
Um,
never been.
it's amazing. It's very nice. Um, and I was just on Vancouver Island too. Like, take advantage of where you live. The reason I brought up Calgary, it's an hour and a half to Banff, but
Hmm.
Canmore and Kananaskis as well are beautiful places to go. Like, you're enjoy what you're surrounded by. James touched on it. Like, everything's finite. So enjoy the weather and enjoy what's around you, especially enjoy the place you live because uh, that can be an amazing thing.
Speaking of enjoying the place you live, uh, those listening may not know this. I grew up an hour and a half from Tofino, and that was amazing. It was a blessing in disguise. I had really took it for granted growing up, but now that I live in Vancouver, which is a little further away from there, I find I miss being able to go to that beach really often, going to those beaches. And yesterday I took the girlfriend there for the first time, and it was amazing, man. Amazing. I couldn't gush enough about it. Um, when we got there, the weather was a little bit rough. We went to Long Beach because that's the first one you see on the way in, and we climbed up on the rock. It was all misty and rainy and cloudy, and you know what? If there's a storm or if it's sunny blue sky, Tofino is perfection either way. It doesn't matter what the weather is. It's the west coast of the west coast. It's perfection. And I was totally fine with that weather for the day, but we headed into town after that to go check out all the little shops, get some coffee, have a nice little lunch, and by the time we finished lunch, the sun came out and we had a perfect summer beach day. We went to another beach called Cox Bay, and there is probably the best bang for your buck hike I've ever been on there. It's 20 minutes up and 20 minutes down, and it is a massive lookout overlooking two giant beaches, one of them having just been named top 15 beach in the world. That's Chesterman Beach I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Save that one for next time. So I give the girlfriend something to be excited for to come back to. And then the food in Tofino, man. The food is incredible. They don't allow franchises in for the most part. If they do, it has to be unanimously approved by council. They did approve of Browns a little while ago, which is kind of takes away from it a little bit, but it's kind of hidden off to the side. It's not part of the main drag. It's in a resort. So like I'm kind of okay with that. But we went to Tofino's premier dining establishment, The Wolf in the Fog. It is fantastic. They have some of the best cocktails I've ever had. Their chef is part and I believe majority owner. And so he really, really, really cares about the product. And I had the best cut of beef I've ever had in my life, and that cost under $70, which is insane. Like living in Vancouver, I love the food scene, man. Really do. But most of those steakhouses, if you want something a little bit above average, they're looking at, I mean, upwards of $100 for a cut. But this one, oh man, oh man, everything down to the house-made Caesar, the way they did their croquette potatoes, the way this tenderloin was just like perfectly marinated and cut and served. And Aiden, I order the rare.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I think we had this conversation on the phone, me and James. Like, I was just walking around Maple Ridge, like, just I had nothing to do during the day and I need exercise. So I was walking around my hometown, and me and James ended up on the phone for like an hour, and we had a whole conversation about this.
Yeah, man. It's to me it's the only way. Like it's the only way you get all the flavor, you get the whole chew, like everything is done properly. It accents the rest of the food on the plate nicely. But yeah, it was awesome dining experience. But nothing surprised me about how great it was because this is the only restaurant I've ever been to that was so good that I felt the need to leave a review online.
Nice. Look at
Yeah.
that, hey?
Yeah, like I've been there 4 times and every time they outdo themselves. It's fantastic. If you ever have the opportunity to go, it is 150% worth it. Wolf in the Fog, can't say enough good things about it. Another big fan of Wolf in the Fog is Tyson Berry. There's pictures of him there.
Good to know.
Great minds think alike, right?
Tyson Berry, yeah, Avs legend.
Yeah. But Aiden, how was the rest of your summer? What's new? Where you been since then?
Van Island again, not Tofino because nobody wanted to do the 5 hour round trip drive with
Tough.
me. I
Tough.
was I was staying around Nanaimo and I had a free day. Caitlin didn't want to do it, which I completely understand. We
Yeah.
went to, dude, I Englishman
Englishman
Park.
River Falls.
Yes, bang. That was very nice. That
Yeah.
was very, very nice. That's some Instagram pictures from that place. But Vancouver Island is annual for me with my family, or
Did
has
you
been
did you
for
do Little Qualicum Falls?
no, but I have.
Well, it's a good thing you have because you may not ever get to again.
Interesting.
The Wesley Ridge fire, just on Cameron Lake outside of Port Alberni, has been multiplying very, very fast. And last Friday, when I came into Port Alberni, I took one of the last couple ferries over, so I saw this giant natural disaster at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was a very clear night, all the stars in the sky above it, and it was without a doubt one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like I've seen some of these huge wildfires during the day, and it's pretty sketchy, pretty scary looking, but when you see them at night and all you see is the lights from crews fighting it and the lights from the fire sparking up everywhere. And when you see one of these giant wildfires, the thing they don't tell you is at night you see a million little ones up around it because it spreads, those sparks fly and it just lights everything up. And then it creates a vacuum and sucks in all the fuel. It's insane, man. I can't say enough about it. I was shell shocked for hours. I couldn't fall asleep when I got here. But one thing I do have to say before we get to hockey is all those wildfire crews, those BC wildfire fighters, those are some brave people. Those are some really, really brave and important people. And I mean, we lose a few of them every year. When I worked in news, it was they always made time for us. They always made time to go from fire to fire all through the province. And these are incredible people who deserve a lot of kudos. So I just want to shout them out a little bit before we get to the main course of the pod.
All over the place too. We're
Yeah,
local, but there's a ton going on in both northern BC and parts of southern Ontario. So not just BC, everybody's
yeah,
doing amazing.
definitely.
So let's do it, James. It's been July. We're not gonna like do everything in July. We're gonna do some of the exclamation points, I think, or not even exclamation points. Just just get back in the groove.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to preview what's coming up over the next little while. From now up until the season, Aiden and I will preview team by team through division, and we'll cover all of the trade signings and everything in between as we go through those teams. Catching up on all of it right now, none of you guys want to listen to that. I don't think anyone who subscribes to this pod wants to hear 2.5 hours straight of how each contract is structured.
Not to mention, again, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. Uneventful off season for the most part, contrasting it with some other off seasons,
Fair.
especially like the most unexpected thing to me has been no McTavish or Rossi stuff because or no RFA stuff in general. I
Yeah.
thought the success of Broberg and Holloway, as well as the salary cap changes and the situation some of these teams were in, I thought we were going to get some more RFA moves. And again, that's I suppose naivete on my part that these guys would have the stones to do that.
Naivete. That's the word of the day.
Yeah.
Naivete. Yeah, yeah. You got to put a dollar in the word jar for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it. I enjoy that word. That's a good one, but that's your word of the pod for sure. You know, I think we're doing the listeners and ourselves a favor here by doing it this way. Am I right? I mean, it doesn't seem crazy.
No, it doesn't. Your first thing on this list is
Might be a little bit crazy.
no, no, because I have this notebook. I have these red notebooks that I have a bunch of empty ones. I have one full one, and I'm almost done this second one. And James, you wrote on this rundown, is it too early to get excited about the Olympics? While I was on the island like 2 weeks ago, not even, I did my Canada, US, Sweden, Finland Olympic rosters just on the whim. So is it too early? I don't know, but I'm there already anyhow. No matter what the is it too early answer is, doesn't matter. We're on board at least on this side.
I like it. I like it. Why the Czech snub? Why no Czech roster?
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay, and the Slovaks and I mean, do we have to really worry that much about the German roster? There's 7 players we know on it, and then a lot of players we don't know on it.
Yeah, see, and that's where I'd have to slow down. Like
Mhm.
I know a lot of these NHLers. I know a lot of the players that don't play in the NHL, but there's gonna come a point where if we're doing all these rosters, I'm just gonna be filling in names based on, oh, German hockey player plays in the first division of Sweden. You must be good. Like
Yeah, like, oh, you played in a world championship and scored a few goals for this team. Nice. All right, you're back.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not gonna. I don't need to get that deep. Um, but James, here, let's have some fun with this right off the hop. I've
Okay.
got a whole team Canada and a whole team USA, and I'm going to wait until you do yours so we can both have like a whole part of an episode reserved for this.
Okay.
But for 3, 4 minutes here, I want you to give me names. I will tell you if they're in my top 12 forwards, top six defensemen, or if I cut them.
Okay, Team Canada.
Yeah,
Nick Suzuki,
top 12 forwards.
Robert Thomas,
Top 12 forwards.
Sam Bennett,
Yeah, top 12 forwards.
Brad Marchand,
I cut them.
Shea Theodore.
Top 6D. Yeah.
Um,
You know what? I was
I'm not even
uneasy.
I'm not even gonna ask Seth Jarvis because I know he's in your top 12. I know for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
This is
he is.
Yeah. I'm willing to put Aiden in top 20 Seth Jarvis fans on the planet.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, and not to mention this year, I think they're going to build a line around him and what he can do. Like I just think Carolina is ready to center around him. The one that paid me to leave off was Wyatt Johnston because I think likewise to Jarvis, you're gonna see him and Rantanen be like prioritized to get those two clicking and scoring together. I
Right.
think that's the long-term top line for them. And
Okay.
I wonder about Rupe Hintz even playing on that line too and playing the three
Oh.
of them together. Um,
Oh.
that's what I'm really interested in seeing. So Johnston hurt to leave off, but Jarvis, right now I'm looking at this. Jarvis, Suzuki, and Reinhardt is my third line.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got Reinhardt that deep in the lineup. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
again, there's an element of this that's balance too.
Mhm.
Balance, fit, and roles. The defense is staggeringly similar to that of the Four Nations team.
What's changed?
Nothing aside from they took an eighth, and my eighth was Mackenzie Weegar.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, especially for Big Ice.
Hmm.
I think he's a really nice compliment there. I mean, I feel like not a lot of the roster changes, but I mean maybe down the lineup with a couple of elder statesmen bowing out of there. But um, the thing that kind of confuses me is looking at this Olympic camp invite list for Canada. They only have the same 3 goalies. why have we not seen an invite to a Darcy Kemper, to a Mackenzie Blackwood, to a Logan Thompson?
Dude, it has to be like politics, right?
That's what I think.
Like, well, and we heard credibly that Logan Thompson's omission was largely because of Bruce Cassidy's bad experience coaching him in Vegas. They did not have a good relationship.
Oh, this is my
Um,
first time hearing this.
yeah, so I think Peter DeBoer as well. I think it was both of them that Thompson did not get on with good at Vegas for whatever reason.
Hmm.
That is the only thing I've heard here. And Logan Thompson still,
Under the
if I'm picking
impression he's
my
a pretty likable guy.
pardon,
I was under the impression that he's a pretty likable guy.
well, and maybe just oil and water with the coaching
Yeah,
staff, right? It might not be him specifically, just a bad mix. Bennington and Hill and Montembeau is the weakest goaltending group of the top four teams, but it got the job done. And really, here it's going to be all about the start of the season. I'm still waiting on Joel Hofer superseding Jordan Bennington, and it's less about me.
I think you're gonna be waiting a while, big guy.
Well, and you know what? I don't think it's going to happen in St. Louis, James. I think there's too many
Nope.
teams in need of goaltending that Hofer's going to get. Hofer's going to net St. Louis a pretty nice return before he ends up their starter.
I haven't liked the return price on goalies. I don't like it at all. They're not worth much.
No, no,
I
I
don't
agree.
get it.
It's the roll of the dice, right? It's how much of a again, we're going to talk about Yaroslav Halak later because he's one of the players that's retired. So we're going to talk about him a little bit. James, do you remember a trade made involving Yaroslav Halak where he went from St. Louis to Buffalo and Buffalo traded Ryan Miller in return? Ryan Miller was 3 years, I think, off of being the best player in the 2010 Olympics and winning a Vezina trophy in that time. And he
Yep.
gets to St. Louis, and the dude just gets absolutely ripped to shreds. The
Yep.
Chicago Blackhawks in a playoff series embarrassed Ryan Miller up and down the block. And St.
Yep.
Louis didn't just pay Halak, they paid a pretty penny to get him for a playoff run. And he didn't fit and he got slapped around. So I think that's not why nobody has Ryan Miller in their head right now as like oh, that's why we're not going to pay for a goalie. But that's just kind of an encapsulation of the risk involved here and what some teams have in the back of their head because that's not an anomaly that happens.
Before we take it away from the Olympics, US team. Do you have I know you've put together a roster. Give me a player you've added that other people may not have.
Tage Thompson. I don't, or you know what? Tage Thompson, I think a lot of people have. I've got Matthew Nyes on Austin Matthews' line.
Okay, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
Tage Thompson, I feel like is a lock,
Yeah. Matthew
especially after
Nyes.
what he's done at the World Championships.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Americans won for the first time in like 100 years this year, and he
Hmm.
was he had the golden goal, I think. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
huge in that tournament. So was Clayton Keller, who I have in the top 12 here. My
I
second
wonder about
line,
Keller because of the big ice. Yeah.
yeah, my second line, and now this is for balance. This is so no, this isn't like there is better players down this lineup, but my second line on this American team is Matthew Nyes with Austin Matthews and Jake Gensel.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Gensel was a nightmare to deal with at the
Yeah.
Four Nations. He was scary.
Well, and we talked last year about big game players and players who have been there and won that. And there's a lack of that on this American team. Matthew Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel are names that pop out at you for playoff success and not just playoff success with teams, but playoff success themselves and showing up in the big game. So to me, Gensel's a lock just because other than that, you've got Eichel, you've got Kachuk, and you've got who else that has, proven it in a big moment. Not really anybody that I'm looking at here.
Jacob Slavin.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. And the problem is, as valuable as he is, he's only going to take you so far, right?
Yeah.
He's essential, and they're not going to win without him playing a big role. But there's a certain limitation to what his impact can be because of the type of player he is.
Aiden, I say we take it away from international hockey, talk a little bit of NHL news. There was one signing that matters more to me than any signing in the NHL, and it's not even a player.
Mm,
Joe Thornton is joining the Sharks again in an official capacity as a player development coach. Dude, he is definitely getting paid to hang out with the guys, practice with them, and hang out in the training room and the change room. That is definitely what it is. He's being paid to be a rink rat bro. And I love that so much. Where I've seen the Sharks called the best vibes on the worst team, the best vibes for a bad team like ever. Joe Thornton is continuing to add to that. He is just such a cool guy. Like I would give damn near anything to just like have a meal with the guy. I feel like
smart,
he would
man.
be so cool. Yeah,
He played smart, like the hockey IQ is off the charts, and I think the hockey IQ remains off the charts, and I think that's why he's in this position, dude. Like
for sure.
he's there because of how smart this guy is.
Yep.
Um, and you're right that his personality is just gonna help everything in that Sharks organization because you have the insight he's gonna bring for the young guys. Again, we were just talking about experience on this American team. No, Joe Thornton has never won a Stanley Cup, but short of that, he's done literally everything else you can do. This is an Art Ross Trophy winner. It's a Hart Trophy winner. He's got 134 playoff points in 187 playoff games. I two-time Olympic gold medalist and won the World Cup of Hockey with Canada in 2016. Not only that, he's got one of my favorite hockey quotes of all time. You never know when your first game set. You never know if your first game seven is going to be your last game seven, and
I
that's
I love that.
yeah, and that's what I think about when I think of Thornton, and I think about him bringing that into a group that includes Macklin Celebrini, who's one of the most mature 19-year-olds I've ever seen play hockey. The attacking maturity, the IQ in this player is crazy, and I think Joe Thornton's the probably the perfect guy to shape him into a future captain for San Jose. And as time goes on, all I'm going to do is gush about what the Sharks have managed to accrue as far as securing the team's future. I don't even think like again, I'm very very confident in this group of San Jose players, and to me, Joe Thornton is just a whole other gem to throw in with all the good that's going on there.
It pains me to say I go into the season wanting to cheer for the Sharks every time they're not playing against Colorado all year long.
Macklin Celebrini's on this Team Canada.
Yeah, I I have him there, but I don't have Bedard.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
I think there's nine other players on that roster that can do what Bedard can do right now.
Yeah. No, I don't think Connor Bedard, unfortunately, is going to touch this team.
I think Celebrini is going to go there and be one of the most important players on that roster.
One of the most important players is hard. But again, don't forget what Jonathan Taves did.
That's
3 years.
exactly
Yeah,
what I'm calling back to.
yeah.
That's the whole thing.
3 years after he was drafted, Taves led Canada in
Uh,
points. He started as the 13th forward on the 2010 team, and he worked his
yep.
way into a crucial role, scored in the gold medal game. Like, guy was an absolute beast throughout that
Mhm.
tournament. So, no, it's not just established guys that are going to show up and make a difference, right? It could be a Seth Jarvis, could be a Macklin Celebrini. You take a step back and you look at some of the other names that are at this camp and that are in contention for a spot for Canada. Like it could be Zach Hyman. I don't even have him on
Yeah.
my team, but it could be Zach Hyman that gets stapled to Connor McDavid and ends up just the perfect complementary player. There was a time on that Canadian team where there was such a concern over who was going to play with Crosby. Before it was Marchand, they took Chris Kunitz to an Olympics just to play with Crosby, right?
Yep.
And Kunitz likewise to Taves. He scored in the gold medal game. He was important. So uh, we're gonna see a youth infusion, and I think Joe Thornton is going to continue to aid Macklin Celebrini. I think Michael Misa is going to benefit greatly from him. I think Will Smith is going to benefit greatly from him. And you can go down the list of young guys that will be aided by Joe Thornton's insight and personality in a serious way and in a you're right, he's just gonna be an amazing dad, locker room dad for a while there too.
Can we send Thor to the Olympics too?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Moving on. Let's take it to Long Island. New York Islanders have given Matthew Schaefer an entry-level deal. That's quelling any rumors or concerns that he could be going to college. I saw a few people a little bit concerned about that. And Aiden, I don't think he's going back to junior either. I think he's sticking with the big club. I think he's going to play a year with the Islanders, and you know what? Probably struggle.
That's hard. It's hard because he's likewise with celebrating the maturity in his game tells me that he is not going to have a problem adjusting to the speed of
Oh
play in
yeah.
the NHL.
I
Um,
more say struggle because I'm thinking about how slapped around the Islanders are gonna get.
maybe the injury is the obvious concern to me. We can't not acknowledge the fact that what he played 17 games in junior hockey last year, something like
Yeah.
that. He's um He's somebody who honestly, James, I don't think Gavin McKenna going to Penn State was the right choice for Gavin McKenna. But
No?
I no, but I think Matthew Schaefer could have benefited from going to college, like in the same way that Caden Lindstrom is going to benefit massively from being at Michigan State. Like, um, it's a lot. It's a lot of hockey to play in the CHL, and it's a lot of hockey to play in the NHL. And the NCAA is not as much hockey. There's significantly less games to play in the NCAA. So I think guys like Lindstrom and Schaefer, who are rehabbing from injuries, you have more time to focus on injury rehabilitation than just getting game fit and being able to play in the mass volume of games that NHL or CHL schedules have to offer. So if there's any concern for Schaefer, I think it's how intensive the NHL schedule is going to be. I don't think he's going to thrive as a rookie on the Islanders. Um, but that does not mean I want to hear all the like a bunch of Schaefer's a bust crap at this time next year because he had a mediocre first season on a tough team. Like this guy is the real deal. Um, he's going to be a superstar for sure, but you gotta give him some time because what he had to go through this season in his draft year, we've seen it mess a lot of players up when they miss this much time at such a crucial stage. I don't need to go through the list. It happens time and time again.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I mean, when I say he's gonna struggle, I do want to maintain the fact that I am cheering for this guy.
Mhm.
I am cheering for him to do well. I just worry about how the Islanders are gonna perform next season. I feel like they have a pretty not a soft roster, but a tired looking roster. This isn't a roster that's overly exciting me, performance wise, which is really crazy to me because I think Matt Barzal's a hell of a player. I think Bo Horvat's a hell of a player. I think Ilya Sorokin is an insanely talented goaltender with a lot of upside to carry a team even when they're struggling. And I like a lot of the complementary players here as well. Like I mean, adding Jonathan Drouin, I think that was really solid for a team that needed a little bit of scoring help. And extending Siplikov. Who is the Russian that they brought over?
I was about to bring him up. Maxim Shabanov.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old. He's only 5'8". That will be 5'8", 156 is what he's listed as. So it's going to be him needing to play a bigger game than his stature in the NHL, but the skill is absolutely undeniable. The vision is absolutely undeniable. 67 points in 65 games in the KHL next year. Or last year, sorry. And they had some pretty good return on that Ziplikov investment. He was very solid for them last season. So we'll see obviously about Shabanov, but I have no reason not to think he'll be at worst a player for them.
Cool. Very fun. I'm taking it off the island here. Nicholas Backstrom. He's done in Washington. He's continuing his career though. We thought he wouldn't be lacing the skates up again, but he has signed a contract to continue his career in Sweden with I believe the club that he started with.
That's Brian S. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I'm sure my Swedish friend would dunk on us for our pronunciation of that, but I'm not going to pronounce it. There's a lot of S's that sound like an SH sound in Swedish, and
Br
I
is
remember
it
saying
is
I
it
remember saying
Brnash?
Orange and he said no, it's Orange
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get that.
Yeah. See,
Never gonna.
for me, the pronunciation is names. Like I'm just again the athletes I watch are I know so many people when they live here. It's North American Big Four. It's basketball. It's baseball. It's football, and it's hockey. So the only European exposure is the odd basketball player and hockey. But I watch so much, I watch so much European football, man, that I just pick up how these names are pronounced. But there are some where it's just like you said, those little intricacies that it's just so hard to keep track of. Um, Nicholas Backstrom is an absolute legend for the
100%.
Washington Capitals organization. Like he does not he they don't win a Stanley Cup without him, and Alexander Ovechkin is not Alexander Ovechkin without him. Period. End of story.
I can agree with all that. I'm happy to see him lacing them up again. I hope he has an awesome time.
All right, so we did this last year, and we did this leading up to the season where we picked a bunch of categories and we picked teams and players to fill those categories in both the Eastern and Western Conference. So James, I'm going to ask you for three teams and five players to fit these categories. Your team categories for both Eastern and Western Conference. We can start on the East Coast. Best team, a disappointing team, and a breakout team. And by breakout, I mean climb maybe two or three or more spots in the standings, 20-ish more points in the points column for this season. We don't need like we're going to go from 32nd to a playoff spot, just somebody who's going to take a step forward. And then the players, most points, best rookie, a breakout player in general, somebody who's going to score 50 goals by surprise, and somebody's going to score 100 points by surprise. And again, surprise doesn't mean the career 50-point player that breaks out, even if it's a guy like maybe an Andrei Svechnikov would be a surprise 50 goal scorer. Somebody who has flirted with 40. Again, 35 goal, 70-point guy perennially, but somebody who's going to take a big step forward. So I'll ask you for your three team picks first, James, on the Eastern Conference. I want a best team, a disappointing team, and a breakout team.
For best team, regular season wise, I'm giving you Carolina Hurricanes. I just love the additions they made. It's a hell of a lot of fun. But disappointing team, I think this one was really, really, really hard for me to do, but because I like what they're doing, but I like what everyone else is doing too. And I think the Ottawa Senators are gonna be swimming in mud.
Hmm. I can see that.
Yeah, and for a breakout team, this one for me was really, really easy. Really easy. Everything they did last year, I think, is just going to continue. Columbus Blue Jackets, they're a
Hmm.
playoff team in my eyes.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we ready for players?
I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Best team is Florida.
Yeah.
Again, the fact they managed to retain what they retained is crazy. Like, um, we lived through the early 2010s where Chicago won a Stanley Cup and then had to sell half their team, right? And they did an excellent job at getting multiple Stanley Cup winners out of that core, but we don't really see a team that manages to do what Florida have done and keep as many of these players around. And um, I unfortunately think they're the favorites for everything again this year.
Can we
Um,
test Bill Zito for PEDs? I think he's on the Bradley Cooper limitless pill.
my disappointing team is New Jersey. I think there's an element of this Devils team that has missed the boat a little bit. I don't think Jack Hughes is the same player coming back, okay? Jack Hughes has frustrated the heck out of me for his entire career because of his lack of involvement off the puck. He is not a gritty player. I understand that. But he's a centerman and he is never physically engaged enough in the play. This sport has become so fast and the speed is matched by how physically durable you have to be. And I worry about Jack Hughes leading that team a lot. I don't think he's going to be the same player. And I think New Jersey are going to be reeling because I think this team is built around their superstars being their superstars. And I just wonder. I wonder about Hughes. I wonder about Meyer. I wonder about Dougie Hamilton. And I wonder about Luke Hughes as well. Luke Hughes needs to take a step forward. It's absolutely time. And we haven't seen that coming yet. Jacob Markstrom as well needs to stay healthy and needs to be consistent. There's too many question marks to me for New Jersey, so they're my disappointing team. My breakout, James, is the Montreal Canadiens, and I know they broke out into the playoffs last year, but I think Montreal are going to stamp their ticket as one of the top three teams of the Atlantic. It might be Toronto, it might be Tampa Bay, but somebody's going to fall out, and Montreal are coming in. That Noah Dobson acquisition it rounds out like some heck of a defense already, and you don't even have David Reinbacher, who having made a debut yet. Caden Gooley, Lane Hudson, Noah Dobson, Mike Matheson is among the premier top four groups, and I still think the best thing they can do is trade Matheson because Reinbacher and Hudson are their long-term number one pair. They've obviously been very wanting of that. And Gooley and Dobson is a dream second pair. How many teams can boast a second pair as good as that? That's something special there. Um, and that's before you even get into the forwards. All Montreal needs is a second line center, James. And I thought it was going to be McTavish or Rossi. It hasn't been at least yet, but you get a 2C in that spot and you're almost there.
I like it. I like it a lot, man.
Who in the East will have the most points this year? I've got a boring answer for this one.
I hate that I also have the same answer. Without even thinking of yours, I know that it's stupid to bet against Nikita Kucherov
Yeah.
having under 120 points.
Yeah, you're right. And Tampa Bay, as the depth of that team continues to again take the similar hit that we were just talking about with the early 2010s Blackhawks, and the hit that Florida have somehow managed to avoid so far, and that is those depth players getting poached by other teams, and the depth of that team needing to be tested. They're going to rely on the superstars a lot.
Aiden, I
They
will
did
say,
last year.
I did almost bravely pick William Nylander to pick up some of those Marner points that aren't there anymore.
Yeah, I think William Nylander has a big year. I agree with that.
I think he's between 100 and 110 points.
No, I think Austin Matthews' health is a question mark. Austin Matthews' consistency is a question mark. I think if you get the right Austin Matthews, we could see Nye's point per game, Matthews 50 goals and above, and Nylander 100 points and above on that one line.
Easy.
Yeah. Best rookie. I also have Kucherov most points. Again, that boring answer, but you're totally right about just the ease with which that guy seems to score
Hmm.
points in this league. Who's your best rookie in the Eastern Conference this season?
Dude, I hate that mine's also the same as yours. I
Oh,
really, really, really want to take Ryan Leonard. I don't think the role is there for him yet. I think if there was more of a role for him and Pierre-Luc Dubois wasn't a Washington Capital, I'm taking Ryan Leonard. But that isn't the case. So it's Ivan Demidov.
yeah, I had Demidov too. We saw in his short cameo what he's capable of. Montreal, come playoff time, buried him in the lineup a little bit, which makes a tremendous amount of sense because he played what two NHL games in the regular season going into that playoff series. But man, what a debut! That was an electric debut at the Bell Center against Chicago. Goal and an assist in the first period alone. He's an absolute magician, and I think with the again Montreal is almost there And I think integrating him into the top six is one of the last steps they're gonna take before they break out big. Jacob Fowler is a prospect goalie as well for Montreal. That's the one thing I didn't mention. That Montembeault Primo duo that has been so shaky.
Primo's gone.
Yeah, it's Jakub Dobj this year,
Yeah.
who's going to pair with Montembeault. But there is somebody coming there. Goaltending is, in my opinion, just something they're going to be patient about and then be okay, right? Who is your breakout player? You can obviously have the same answer here for either surprise 50 goal or surprise 100-point player. For me, there are three different guys. Who's your breakout player in the Eastern Conference?
I I mentioned the Columbus Blue Jackets earlier, and I know Adam Fantilli had a great season last year. I think he's gonna kick it up another notch. Can you
Hmm.
call him a breakout player still if he jumps up to being a point per game guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I absolutely think this is a guy who could score 40 goals this year.
Yep.
I think Canada leaving him off that Olympic selection team was a mistake. I
Yep.
think he should have had a chance to show what he can do.
Wholeheartedly agree. He's got the frame to do it. He's got the talent, drive, comes from a great family, and I love that he just loves getting better at hockey. You can see it. He learns on the fly. And you can see him chatting with the older guys on the bench. It's awesome, man. He's
Hmm.
hell of a player to watch.
Okay. Surprise 50 goal scorer for you. Think about it. My breakout player, though, my breakout player is Pittsburgh's newest goaltender. Artur Shilovs, I think, is going to steal the starting spot from Tristan Jarry in the first 2 months of the season, and I think he will be a very good starting goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins. What he's shown in big games, he's had 3 consecutive springs now of playing the best hockey in the most important times. 3 years ago, it was Latvia at the World Championships, led them to a bronze medal. They beat the Americans in that bronze medal game. Latvia winning that bronze was so big for that country, and he was one of the best players in that tournament. 2 summers ago, 2 springs ago, Vancouver Canucks, Thatcher Demko goes down early in the playoffs. He gets them through Nashville and he plays like an absolute stud against Edmonton to force the series to 7. And then this year, Calder Cup, he was the best player in the Calder Cup playoffs throughout. He was superb for Abbotsford as they won the Calder Cup. He was a gem. He was an absolute diamond for them. Um, and Vancouver, I think, absolutely made a horrible decision in not doing what they can to retain this guy. It's not going to be like a Vezina season, but I think Shelovs breaks out into being somebody who going into next year will be like the staple number one for Pittsburgh. They don't need to go find a goalie. They will be fine. It will be Shelovs.
Um, Aiden, on this list you have surprise 50 goal scorer and surprise 100-point scorer. Do you mind if I do the 100-point score first? Because
Yeah,
I'm
go.
doing these in I brought up the Carolina Hurricanes earlier. I think there's a shot with the way this lineup is put together that Sebastian Aho is a 50 goal scorer and Nikolai Ehlers is a 100-point scorer. I think the Aho and Ehlers connection is going to be disturbing. I think Andrei Svechnikov is going to be pushed off that line and Seth Jarvis is going to be a 40 goal scorer on it too. I think this is one of those lines that you see score 100 goals.
You and I, man, sometimes we're so completely on different planets, but then sometimes the brainwave that we get on is just identical. Because um I also had Carolina and that line playing a huge part in my answer here. Because I also think Nikolai Ehlers, Sebastian Aho, and Seth Jarvis will be an absolute point machine first line. Nikolai Ehlers has never had the leash and the health to be what he can be. I think Carolina investing as much as they invested in him in the summer, they are going to get the best out of this guy because they would not have signed him if they weren't prepared to put him in a great position to succeed.
That's the
Now,
pitch. That's the 100%. That's the pitch. That's what got him there.
yeah. Now I don't have Aho or Ehlers on this list, but I have Seth Jarvis as my surprise 50 goal scorer because I think,
Nice.
again, I think that line is built in a way that Jarvis can be everything those two need him to be, including the finisher.
Mhm.
Like, um, and it just those three players on Carolina's top line sounds like a dream to me. Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with having Andrei Svechnikov on your second line.
No, well, and then the investments they've made in Logan Stankoven and Jackson Blake as well. Like
Yeah.
those players are going to have big roles. They've got some good forwards coming up as well. They yeah,
Yeah, dude,
there's
they're gonna look really good when they get knocked out in the third round again.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately, I think you're
They're
right.
gonna look so good.
My surprise 100-point player is a little bit of a is it off the board? I don't know if it's off the board. It's off the board because I don't believe in Detroit as much as I did prior, but I think we're going to see Lucas Raymond take a step forward and hit 100 points this season. Um, he's the youngest among all of these Detroit forwards. Dylan Larkin's turning 29. I think this becomes Raymond's team. And I think as it becomes Raymond's team, you see the forward core where it's Larkin and DeBrincat start to be catered towards Raymond's success. Whether that be giving him that first line with Larkin and DeBrincat, right? Like if those three play together again, Alex DeBrincat is a great finisher and Dylan Larkin's a very smart player. And I think Raymond takes over that line, being the youngest one on there and being again, I think the best playmaker. I think he's a better playmaker than Dylan Larkin is. Larkin's a jack of all trades, great two-way centerman who's smart and controls the game well, but give the puck to Raymond. I think he's a magician. I would be in no way surprised to see him get
I
100
like it.
points
I
this
never
year.
should have traded them in fantasy.
Yeah, to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. It was for Philip Forsberg and something else for those who are wondering. I can't remember what the something else was. Yeah, stupid decision. As is what happens when I light up our fantasy pool group chat saying someone offer me trades while I'm on a night out. It's genius. Very, very smart. You know, sometimes you gotta just like order yourself a nice cocktail, have some chicken wings and let those do the thinking. Let them dictate what trade you're gonna make. But Aiden, let's take it to the Western Conference.
Who's your best team? Who's your disappointing team and who's your breakout team?
Um, I did a lot of thinking about this, and I feel like it's stupid to overthink it.
Hmm.
My best team is Dallas.
Yeah. Yep. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think last season was an anomaly for Thomas Harley.
No,
I think that is a flash of things to come. The only thing that will hold back Thomas Harley is the health of Miro Heiskanen taking some minutes away, but that will not diminish the quality of player Thomas Harley is. It might just bring down the point total and the minutes total a little bit. And then you've got Rantanen, a full
yeah,
season of Mikko Rantanen.
I'm so put off that the Avs have to play against him like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That all to say, again, we're gonna concur. Dallas is my best team. Disappointing, James.
I think you're not gonna like this. I've got Minnesota.
Interesting.
I don't like anything they did. And in terms of player development, I mean, I don't think there's much more help coming than you're already getting. And I think we saw a lot of other teams continue to get better or stand pat. I don't like what Minnesota did or lack thereof.
Hmm.
And like this Marco Rossi drama, like that doesn't contribute well to anything. Like you
No, you're
build him
right.
up as a top six center, and then now you're like, well, we don't really need him. We might trade him. We'll sign him if we feel like it. Like, dude, no. I love Bill Guerin. I think he's awesome. I love everything he's done as a GM up until this summer.
Yeah.
I think with the Parisi and Suter buyouts off the table, I think I think this was the year that you're making a big splash. Maybe that splash isn't out there. Maybe it's in the works, and maybe he's gonna make me eat my words. But I don't like Minnesota right now.
Hmm. No, that's fair. That's fair. I have optimism because I believe in the guys they're going to bring in to supplement, but that is so. much of a question mark. Like I'm talking about Liam Ogren and Danila Yurov being top nine forwards. I don't think Ogren's going to be. I think Yurov has a better chance of being. They need the defense to play like this defense can. Their top five of Jacob Middleton, Brock Faber, Zeev Boyum, Jared Spurgeon, and Jonas Brodin is going to be what is necessary to carry this team forward. Because I do agree with you that this forward core is not going to perform as well as they did last season. Vladimir Tarasenko, I don't think is going to work here. I don't see it. I don't
No.
see it with him anymore.
And I
So
think
I
they're going to
totally
get
understand.
begged by so many teams in that Western Conference and Central Division.
Yeah.
I think it's rough. I think it's going to be really ugly. I mean, I'm not mentioning this team on there, but like I think Nashville's going to bounce back at least a little bit.
Hmm.
And those aren't the easy points you're going to get anymore. Look at Minnesota's numbers against Nashville last year. That kept them in the mix.
Yeah.
But I mean, I digress. I'm not going to dive too far into Nashville. I'm not talking about them at all. But yeah, who's your disappointment?
Vancouver. I think,
I hesitated to put that, but I believe in that.
yeah. Um, the excitement around the Canucks seems to be the fact they didn't lose as many players as people were worried they were going to lose.
That's brutal.
Yeah, like, can we stop pretending that, like, that's going to make them a playoff team again? Because it actually seems like the goal here was get as much of the 2023 core together as you could, and then just try and go at it with a better defense. But the better defense is ignoring the fact that I don't think this team's going to score any goals. Like I like their D. It's solid. It's a better defense than most non-playoff Western Conference teams have. But the fact of the matter here is that let's just run through this top six, okay? Jake DeBrusk, Elias Pettersson, and Brock Besser. On a good playoff team that can contend, Pedersen's the only first liner there. Besser and DeBrusk are second liners. Evander Kane, Philip Hedl, Connor Garland, another third line on a really good team. Nils
That'd be a
Hoglander
sick
at
third line on a great team.
Oh yeah, it's a great third line, but it's not a good second line when you need them to produce like a above average second line if your first line's DeBrusk, Pedersen, Besser. And I know I'm gonna upset some people saying that because yes, Jake DeBrusk's ceiling is probably 30, 35 goals. Brock Besser's ceiling is probably 40 goals. Pedersen's ceiling is clearly around the 100 point mark. I just don't think any of those three players are gonna get close to that.
No,
Philip Hedl is just going to get another concussion. I hope to God that does not happen so bad. But every time he gets hit, he gets concussed. Like I'm sorry. Like that's unfortunately the reality that we're looking at here. Nils Höglander, Atu Ratu, and Kiefer Sherwood's that third line. And again, you are asking for one of Höglander or Ratu to become something that they haven't been yet. I think Höglander, again, him and Rick Tocchet wasn't a good mix, but I don't think him and Adam Foote is going to be a good mix either, right? Like, I would probably feel very different about this team if they hired Manny Malhotra as the coach because Malhotra would have been a very different pivot from the Rick Tocchet thing that stopped working last year. I have too much of a concern that Adam Foote is going to be very similar to the Rick Tocchet thing that stopped working last year. And I think Elias Pettersson, I think Brock Besser, I think to an extent Philip Hedl are all going to not produce the way they need to produce here to make this team at all a contender. Breakout team,
San Jose Sharks.
love it.
I think they win 10 more games than last year.
Yeah, I think
Who that is against, I have no idea because I think the Ducks are looking better too.
yeah, yeah, I the Ducks are such a such a question mark. But San Jose is I think San Jose is at the point now, James, where they're going to get better every season until we see them at their playoff level. Like I don't again, and obviously this happens all the time where you can say this. The the rebuilding high draft picks to Stanley Cup pipeline is rarely as clean as it was with Chicago, where it was Kane and Taves in back-to-back years. You had the second round gem of Duncan Keith way back in 2003. You had Marian Hossa, and all of a sudden they win the Stanley Cup. Like that's not it's not usually in that manner and that quickly and that to plan. But if any team in the NHL is going to go that smoothly and that to plan, I think it's San Jose right now, man. Mike Greer deserves all the credit in the world. Absolutely all the credit in the world. Ryan Warsofsky is going to get recognized as somebody who's going to get the best out of this team. Like I don't even know if I have a reason to believe in this Warsofsky Greer duo as much as I do, save for what I've liked out of them so far. But I truly, completely agree that they're going to take San Jose a step forward. I don't think mine's as good as yours, but I think this is Utah's year to also stamp a spot in that Central Division. That's part of the reason I don't disagree with your Minnesota Wild
Great.
disappointing disappointing pick so far because in this Utah team you're going to get a full season out of Dylan Gunther. Also, Logan Cooley um, is so legit, and I had so many doubts. I had so many doubts about Logan Cooley growing. But the again, it's the maturity that's coming out in his game. It's him it's him using his ability in every single aspect of the game. He doesn't he doesn't take a shift off. He's involved every shift in one way or another. Sometimes it's getting his team possession back of the puck. Sometimes it's playmaking. Sometimes it's I love the way him and Keller drive into the offensive zone. The way they're able to back opposing defenses off by getting over the blue and then keeping possession of the puck. It's very reminiscent of when Elias Pettersson was at his best. The way
Mm.
he could set up in the offensive zone and the way he could be a one-man entry. And don't forget, JJ Peterka's a hell of a player.
Yep.
He is a very good hockey player. So I think that is like they just added, I think their third or fourth best forward here, right? In Paterka. Like I think safer Cooley, Gunther, Keller, he's uh he's right at the top of that list.
Very fun. I like it. Heading to points now, correct?
Yeah, let's do it. Again, boring, easy, I'm sorry. Unless you have McKinnon.
I'm gonna go McKinnon just to play devil's advocate here because
That's
you're gonna go
fair.
McDavid.
Yeah. No, that's totally good. And I think James Nathan McKinnon is the kind of guy who heading into an Olympic year and a year where Colorado were disappointed with their playoff performance. He's again going to be another level of monster. Like the mentality of this guy. Um, he was at Brad Marchand's Stanley Cup party with Sidney Crosby, and as much fun as he had there, I bet you he was the entire time sitting there like, they're gonna be at mine next summer. They're gonna be at mine next summer.
Damn right.
And no, I think hey, again, you're saying devil's advocate, but that could so easily happen. Um, Nathan McKinnon's going to want that Olympic gold and that Stanley Cup at the end of the season, as bad as anybody's going to want anything in the NHL this year. I do have Connor McDavid because it's Connor McDavid, and I think him and who he is inevitable. He's Thanos of the NHL, where you go up against him, and again, unless the movie's got some really bad writing in it, the win is inevitable. Um, best rookie in the Western Conference. Who do you got?
Jimmy Snuggerud, 30 goal scorer.
Ooh, ooh, wow!
Yeah.
I like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe in this guy. I believe in this guy. Um, do you want to talk a little bit about him?
No, I want to let his play speak for itself.
Yeah, that's fair.
The guy
Um,
is relentless on the ice, and he's got all the talent and drive that he needs. Watch
and
the
don't
Blues this
forget,
year. Fun.
very worth saying as well, 3 full years in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Last season, 51 points in 40 games. And in total, between the regular season and the playoffs, he showed up at the end of last season, 7 regular season games, 7 postseason games, goal and 4 points in the regular season, 2 goals and 4 points in the playoffs. No, I actually don't even think that 30 goal prediction is off the wall. Like that could easily happen.
I
totally.
mean, like 27's more realistic, but 30
Sure.
sounds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I was stuck between two defensemen. Those two
Oh, you're going
defensemen,
that route. I see what you're doing.
yeah, those two defensemen, one Calgary, one Minnesota.
I thought about the Calgary one. That was my number two.
Yeah, Zane Parekh is 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 a very good freaking defenseman.
I
um,
heard him on Empty Netters. He's a funny guy too.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the personality seems amazing as well. Now, as good as I think Parek's going to be, and I think his ceiling is higher than this guy's, we saw Zeev Boyum be given so much on that Minnesota team in the playoffs when he showed up. He came as a college free agent at the end of last season. He was in the exact same boat as guys like Leonard and guys like Snuggerud. But he played 4 playoff games and he was as many minutes as anybody, man. He was on the ice all the time. He was on their first power play unit. This is clearly a player that Minnesota thinks they're going to build their future around. And he's shown no reason why they shouldn't believe in him in that way. Again, I think Parekh is going to be a higher caliber defenseman than Boyum, but I think Boyum is so ready to step in. That Middleton Faber duo, I don't think they're looking at as the offensive top two. I just don't think that. I don't think that they seem to think Brock Faber's that guy. And Boyum and Spurgeon on a pair together, I think you're going to get the very best out of this guy. I think he's going to be the best rookie in this conference.
Breakout player was really hard for me in the West.
Mm,
Really hard for me. I had a lot of options,
yeah,
but I'm taking it to Chicago. Frank Nazar.
nice,
Yeah.
nice,
I thought
nice.
about going the Mackenzie Blackwood route because I think he's going to have one hell of a season.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be very good. I thought about going Matt Coronado, but I think how he played last year is probably how he's going to play all year this year.
hmm
Um, yeah, I think Frank Nazar is probably going to cement himself in that top six. I think he continues to improve every time I see him. And any reason he's not on the first power play unit is just a dumb made up reason to me. I
it's
don't think
fair.
Chicago's going to be that great, but I think their power play is going to be pretty money. I like
Chicago,
everything
I
about
think
Chicago.
Chicago needs a step, man. Like
Yeah.
they need to show something.
And
Um,
I think that's what they're going to get from him. I think he's going to
yeah,
be a 55-point guy.
yeah,
I don't think he's going to be incredibly dominant, but I think he's going to show them that they have a sure thing in him. I
yeah,
believe in him more than a lot of their other forward pieces.
yeah. That's completely fair. Smarts. I like his brain, and I like the pace with which he plays the game. I got McTavish.
Fun.
I think we have a point per game Mason McTavish this season. I think likewise, this is going to be a guy. This is going to be a guy who goes into the season trying to prove everybody wrong. PK Subban's talked about this at length that those RFA negotiations, especially those arbitration ones, and McTavish isn't going to arbitration, but um, it gets hard. It gets hard, and where it gets hard is you have the team on the other end basically telling you or telling your agent all the reasons that they don't want to give you the contract you're asking for. And those reasons are going to be a whole lot of doubt. And I think McTavish is a player that drafted in 2022. He would have loved to have been a guy in the mix for this Olympic team. He's done it for Canada at the international level. Um, and I think you mix that with the motivation that he's going to end up gaining from the the ostensibly being told that you're not good enough for what you're asking for yet. Like I think Mason McTavish's character is that of somebody who's going to go onto the ice and take out every ounce of frustration onto the team he's playing against. And I think we see 82 points if he plays 82 games out of Mason McTavish.
I like it. I like it a lot. What do we have next?
Surprise 50 goal scorer.
Hmm. I've talked poorly about Minnesota, but this is the one highlight they're getting. It's Matt Boldy.
Matt Boldy, 50 goals. Nice. You've talked about that before. You've talked about thinking that he's got that ceiling on him.
Yeah, and I'm sticking to my guns on that one. I
Well,
have to.
the other thing about Boldy, he's a guy that made the Four Nations team and wasn't his best at that tournament. So he's gonna be one of the guys that is going out there looking to staple himself to that Olympic roster.
Mhm.
Tage Thompson, Cole Caulfield, Jack Hughes, Matthew Nyes, a bunch of guys that didn't play huge roles or weren't there. Um, yeah, I totally see that. I totally see that. Surprise 50 goal scorer for me. Again, much like Seth Jarvis, it's another guy I'm a pretty massive fan of. Um, Dylan Gunther of the Utah Mammoths, my pick.
I love the selection, and honestly, with Gunther, that one does not surprise me coming out of your mouth, and I believe it too. Like that's a guy who just was dangerous every time you watched him last year, and not to mention so fun to watch. Like you could
Mhm.
see the creativity flying off him. But Aiden, can I give you my 100-point score because I've been itching for this one?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Robert Thomas.
Yeah,
It's
great pick.
yeah, yeah. I He gets better every time I watch him. And do you remember like a year or two ago when Mike Modano was asked his top five centers or top 10 centers in the NHL or something like that? And he put Robert Thomas at 5 or 6, and everyone was like, dude, you're nuts.
Mhm.
But you know what? He knows the game. You can't tell Mike Modano he doesn't know the game of hockey. He knows what he sees in Robert Thomas. We know what we've seen in Robert Thomas since he won the Stanley Cup as a rookie, since he was drafted, really. This guy gets better and better every year, not to mention more responsible, not to mention meaner. The guy means business. And when everyone wrote off this Blues team, he was a big part of why they ended up making it into the playoffs, why they put up a big fight. I love his game. I lock him on any team I build. 100%.
Dude's had back-to-back 60 assist seasons, including
Yeah.
last year in which he played 70 games.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Pavel Buchnevich, I gush about this guy's play driving ability every single time I can. And a first line, I'm looking at Daily Faceoff right now. A first line of Pavel Buchnevich, Robert Thomas, and Jimmy Snuggerud, dude.
Yep.
Feeding families, I think.
Yep.
And you go down the lineup: Dylan Holloway, Braden Shen, Jordan Kyrou, and then Jake Neighbors, Pia Suter, Nick Bukestad, and then Alexei Toropchenko, Oscar Sundqvist, and Matthew Joseph. I really like that group, and I think it is primed to get the best out of everybody. Save for maybe Kyrou, but yeah, that is so valid on so many levels. For me, it's both about the fact that I love this player. I have all the faith in the world in this player. And I think that he will end up with Mikko Rantanen, so it's Wyatt Johnston.
Mm.
I could totally see Rantanen playing with Robertson and Hintz, but I don't know. Sorry, I don't think Jason Robertson has a future in Dallas.
That seems to be the consensus.
Yeah, so I think you're gonna see Rantanen and Johnston end up being what this team is built around on that forward core.
Right.
And those two playing together, I think Johnston gets 100 points next year.
I like it. I like it a lot. I quickly want to now that we're done all this, you'll see it all up on our Instagram in due time. We love doing these, and we love looking back on them too. It's fun to check it out on the halfway mark at the end of the season, see which ones we were dead wrong about. Because there's going to be a couple. There's going to be a couple that are terrible, but there's going to be a couple great ones as well where we look moderately close to seeming like geniuses. And next up, we're gonna go moderately quick on this one, but we're gonna run through some players who retired this off season, some players who've called it quits, hung them up, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of these guys who had really long careers, we want to just have one memory per player. Talk a little bit about impact they made on the game of hockey, impact they made on our hockey watching lifetimes, because I feel like I've got some stories for each of them. But Aiden, it's not my stories that matter here. I want to hear yours because I know we're gonna have the same ones for a few of them.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna start it with Yaroslav Halak. Give me one memory about his career, please.
He had a crazy playoff run, but that's not where I'm going. I absolutely, as a kid, fell in love with the 2010 Olympic Slovakia team. I've talked about the fact that if anybody can find me a Pavel Demitra jersey from that tournament, I will be forever indebted to you. Um, Yaroslav Halak, that tournament doesn't happen without him. They don't beat the Russians in that group without him. They don't give Canada such a fight without him. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for them in that bronze medal game, or else they would have taken home their first Olympic medal as a country. At that point, they ended up with it with the Slavkovsky year 8 years later. But um, Yaroslav Halak was an absolute warrior for that Slovakia team. And, you know, we're from Canada. We have tons and tons and tons of superstars. But those countries, you don't get a goalie as good as Halak was in his prime all that often. So absolutely massively impactful career.
Love to see it. Blake Wheeler next up.
Oh, I think of Blake Wheeler and I think of, unfortunately, the team that could have been 2018 Winnipeg Jets. I was so convinced they were labeled for the Stanley Cup. Um, and so maybe it's a little bit of a sad one, them just coming up short. But Blake Wheeler, for a little while there, was one of the most dominant wingers in the league. And that Winnipeg team just ran into a hot Vegas and a hot Marc-Andre Fleury, or else I think that 2018 Stanley Cup. I don't think Ovechkin has a cup if that Jets team, if the wheels didn't fall off that way. But Wheeler was such a gem to watch for a hockey crazed market for so long.
Tyler Johnson.
4 goals on Henrik Lundqvist in a playoff game at one point. He was an absolute beast in the beginning of his career. He made up that triplets line when him, Andre Palat, and Nikita Kucherov were all young, and the that was electric. That was electric for the first few years that they were together.
Nick Bonino.
Canucks legend Nick Bonino. Clutch, man. This guy was clutch. Scored that playoff series overtime winning goal in 2016 in the second round. Um, Carl Hagel and Phil Kessel and Nick Bonino was a huge line for Pittsburgh in winning the 2016 Stanley Cup. Doesn't happen without them. Um, so Bonino, it's not just that playoff because when he was in Anaheim, he popped up with some big goals as well in the playoffs. But I think of Nick Bonino, I think of scoring big goals in the playoffs. One of those underrated middle six guys his whole career.
Matt Martin.
Another line we talked about this when Cal Clutterbuck retired earlier this season. The New York Islanders went to the Eastern Conference Final in back-to-back seasons, and one of the most impactful groups of players they had on that team was Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck, and Casey Cizikas. We're probably not going to see a fourth line as impactful as that one was for a long time because there wasn't a lot of skill there, but they went out and they did literally everything that team needed at any given time. Absolute warriors, and Matt Martin was another one of them.
For any of our older listeners, they played much like the grind line in fabled Detroit Red Wings history that featured Darren McCarty and many others. That line had a handful of guys that popped in and out, but they were
Including,
also another fourth line.
am I not mistaken that former Conn Smythe Trophy winner Claude Lemieux went through that line as well? Was
You
that
are
later in?
mistaken.
I'm mistaken. I have that in my head.
He played against that line.
And you know what? Brendan Lemieux, I think, was a wing too, wasn't he? That's the
Yeah,
conflation. Um,
yeah,
we have two more on this list, right?
that's right. Kyle Clifford.
2014 Stanley Cup, another team that, and you know what? 2012 as well. He was on two teams that, their depth, right? Like LA 2012 and 2014, it was guys down the lineup stepping up that really helped them out. They had the Jeff Carter, Dustin Brown, Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, Jonathan Quick superstar core. But again, it's another team that without some of the contributions from those guys down the lineup, including Kyle Clifford, they um they don't win. They don't win the cups they did. Um, if I'm not mistaken, the Alec Martinez Stanley Cup winning goal against the Rangers, I'm pretty sure it's Kyle Clifford driving that puck into the offensive zone and handing it off that led to that goal. So
Correct in saying that.
there's my very specific Kyle Clifford memory.
Very nice. Love that one. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. I can't remember the fight, but I was also thinking one where he just pumped a guy's eyes shut for like 4 minutes straight. Yeah, real tough customer that one. Last one on our list, Anton Hudobin.
A quote, I think it's we're not going home in the bubble when Dallas I think beat Colorado, if not when they won the Western Conference Final against Vegas. Anton Hudobin had taken over for an injured Ben Bishop and was playing the hockey of his life, um, and was very pumped and was hailed by that Dallas Stars team as the hero he was for them. Um, Little flash in the pan, but really memorable nonetheless from somebody who was more or less a career backup to pop up in a big way like that.
100%, man. We're gonna take it out of here and we're gonna run through one other very quick thing. Any of our dedicated listeners may remember that this would be in early June. Aiden and I went through all of the guys who were pending free agents, and he guessed a home for each of them. One rule we made, though, was that if they stick with their team, that player is null and void, no longer part of it. Now, we named 15 players, and the majority of them stayed with their teams. So, of the players that did not stay with their teams, we had Mitch Marner, Mikhail Granlund, Nikolai Ehlers, and Vladislav Gavrikov. That was it. There were there were four.
Okay.
Uh, so for Marner, Aiden guessed Chicago. He obviously ended up going to Vegas. Uh, Mikhail Granlund, New Jersey. I really liked that guess. I felt good about that guess. He signs in Anaheim, which I like that home for him. Nikolai Ehlers, Aiden guessed Toronto. I liked that guess as well. Ends up a Carolina Hurricane. And Vladislav Gavrikov, Aiden guessed Carolina, which I quite liked. And you know what? He was onto something because the Hurricanes went after Keandre Miller. He ends up a New York Ranger. Now, the point of this game wasn't to see how many Aiden could get right. The point of this game was to show how difficult it is. Yeah, he got zero. How difficult it is to predict where these guys go, especially with a little bit of time ahead. Now, you're going to read a million articles heading into every offseason about where this free agent might sign, where that free agent might sign, and go back and look at those articles, man. They might go 1 for 20. There's only 32 teams, and most of them aren't going to end up signing these players. So, most of the time, you're picking between 5 or 6 teams, and you're wrong almost every time. Now, I'm not telling you not to make predictions. That's all the fun. But the point of this exercise was to show we're not right. We're not. And we're not going to be right all the time. It's fun when we are. Feels pretty sick when you are right. But Aiden, did you think you were going to get a lot of these right?
No, I did not. None of them shocked me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I believe that's all the hockey stuff we have for now. But let's wrap it up with doing something we do often and checking in on some movies and shows we've watched lately. Aiden, I'm going to ask you for one movie and one TV show. Where do you want to start?
Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance from 2014, starring Michael Keaton and Zach Galifianakis, was a very fun watch. It's about a superhero movie actor who, after his superhero movie career is over, writes and stars in a Broadway musical. I like this so much because of how sick and tired and unenamored I've been with blockbuster movies and recent movie releases as a whole. So it was cathartic to watch a movie ostensibly making fun of an actor who was stuck in that superhero role for so long and broke out of it and made something meaningful, made some meaningful art. I really liked it. I am watching House as well. I never got around to
Oh,
watching House. So largely because it's not one that I have to sit down and like really focus on, right? Um, it's as much sitcom as anything. I need to watch Severance. That's next on my list. It's an Apple TV one. I've heard great things, but that is more a I have to sit down and focus on it, and less a I can just watch it and either, scroll my phone a little bit, write in this stupid notebook or, or something other than that. How about
Well,
you?
I have a lot of different directions I could go with this. I've watched a lot of really good movies since then because one thing I forgot to mention that took up a lot of my summer was I got half of my wisdom teeth taken out. So there was a lot of downtime watching shows and movies. But for movies, I'm going to go to the one that had the biggest impact on me. And Aiden, it's one that I texted you about. Field of Dreams, Aiden. Field of Dreams. I've always been told that in the sports movie sphere, this is going to be one that I'm not going to care that much about because I'm not a baseball guy. You know what? I don't care if you love, hate, or don't care about baseball. If you have a soul, you're going to love this movie. You're going to absolutely love it. Not just because of the incredible performance from Kevin Costner that makes you believe again in caring in caring for others in believing in mystical things in having hope and honestly being a kid again and having that love for a game, that love for your home, that love for your family. But in the performances from Ray Liotta and James Earl Jones, who are both no longer with us, it was hauntingly beautiful. I recommend Field of Dreams to everyone, young, old, and in between, whether or not you like baseball, love baseball, or think it's just the stupidest sport to watch in recorded history. Um, I would watch this movie on a good day, on a bad day, on a day when I lost someone, on a day when I met someone. It is a masterpiece in my eyes. Now, are you going to go into it expecting something directed by Christopher Nolan? Hell no. This is this is pretty much a Disney family movie, but in sports form. And I love that about it. I love the soul behind it. And yeah, I I put it in my top 20 favorite movies of all time, probably.
Wow.
I would rewatch it time and time again. I loved it. Taking it away from there though, for TV shows. I've been going through everything Danny McBride's ever done. I
Yeah.
think I mentioned that on the last episode. I watched Vice Principals. That was fun. But and then I watched The Righteous Gemstones, which is an HBO product and starring him and John Goodman. And it was quite good, quite silly, quite funny. But I'm not going to tell you to go watch all four seasons of it, even though it is finished now and it was an awesome show to watch. And I would recommend it. But I charge anyone who likes TV and likes film to go watch season 4, episode 1 of The Righteous Gemstones. It's an anthology episode starring Bradley Cooper as the first person in that family to start doing what they end up doing as a career and build that family's empire. And it takes place that episode in during the American Civil War, and it is one of the coolest pieces of TV I've ever seen. I wish I got an entire show out of all of that. And if he didn't win an award for that episode, I will be shocked.
Hmm.
Absolutely shocked. Aiden, I highly recommend you watch that episode. It is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Take an hour, just burn through it. It is so, so, so good. But right now I'm watching Danny McBride's Eastbound and Down, where he's Kenny Powers, the flamed out baseball player. And man, it is so funny. I will be talking a lot about that next pod.
So you mentioned Field of Dreams as a nostalgic sports classic movie. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2 yet?
I did. In fact, I'm glad you brought this up because that was the homework I gave you ahead of this episode. Are we going to talk about this? Are we going to do it?
Yeah, dude, it was way better than I thought it was gonna be.
Okay. All right. That's not the words I expected to hear from your I mean this in the most pleasant way possible, film snob mouth.
Sure.
You are a film critic through and through. I have a couple of friends like that where it has to be a critically acclaimed masterpiece for them to really love it. And I thought you were going to rip this thing to shreds.
You know why I liked it so much? Like all the things that I would have ragged on in a movie like this, like it was so overtly done comedically, ironically, and satirically. Like it was
Yep.
so obviously self-aware that it was a sequel 30 years after the original. Um, and usually like in sequels where they completely take what happened in the first movie and nullify it, that makes me so angry most of the time.
Yeah.
But the exposition and like the storytelling, it was a little bit off-putting for the movie to start like that, I got to admit,
Yep.
but the way it worked with the whole story, not to mention like the over-the-topness of that Maxi Golf League
Yeah.
was very well timed because you had like the future of golf. I don't even remember what it was, but the future of golf ads like going on where it was like mini games and crap like that.
Mhm.
And then you also have the Saudi Arabian golf circuit LIV
Live
league.
golf.
Yeah.
Live,
Um,
yeah.
that took a bunch of PGA pros.
Yep.
And then the satire of them literally doing surgery on these guys to make them higher performing athletes
Yep.
like that again. Like it was all very clever. And I appreciated it a lot. Like how clever the satire was of making fun of cameos, making fun of sequels even, making fun of like the whole thing was done in a way that was so self-aware that I had to appreciate it. Does that make sense?
Also, I would love to mention that Sandler had his whole family, Rob Schneider's whole family, and Chris Farley's entire family in the movie, and that's incredible. I love what he keeps doing, where he just has all of his friends and people he loves to work with in every one of his flicks. Like when he signed that giant Netflix deal, I knew there were going to be some flubs in there and some good ones, but I love the way he's gone about it. It doesn't matter how good or bad the movie is, they have a great time doing it and they do it for the right reasons.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about it though. Favorite character in Happy Gilmore 2?
Oh, dude, I lost my mind every time John Daly took a
Dude, I was just about
swig
to
of
say
the
Uncle
hand
John Daly.
sanitizer.
Uncle
That
John
was
Daly.
so funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Uh yeah.
Was it Scotty Scheffler getting arrested? I thought that whole thing was the funniest thing in the world too. The I know the drill line was perfect again.
Yeah.
The self-awareness to make fun of yourself is I appreciate that a lot. People
Yeah.
take themselves so freaking seriously all the time.
What about
But
Will Zalatoris?
yes, yeah, that was good. That was good. The fact he was like choking out his caddy too, that was funny.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, again, it's satirical, it's over the top, but I also found the Shooter McGavin side plot where he was in a
Yeah.
mental hospital. Dude, that made me
Yeah.
laugh so hard. The Joker dance down the stairs after he left the hospital made me laugh. Like it was, yeah, dude, it was a good time.
Uh
Again, much better than I thought it was gonna be.
Least favorite character.
Oh, they could have, I think they could have done, um, oh, that's hard. That's hard. I think they could have done a lot more. As much as I was amused by him, the Billy Gilmore antagonist, I thought they could have done uh more with him, and he
Is
annoyed me.
that's the maxi golf leader guy?
No, he was the golfer that flipped.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Haley Joel Osment's character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could have been better by a lot. And I don't know if I'm blaming the actor, if I'm blaming the story. Um, but he could have been funnier and more compelling, I think.
For me, it's the guy who founded and ran Maxi Golf. Like I didn't buy that guy.
Yeah, I understand why. Um, I am
I think I just hate his style and his face.
yeah, no, and again, I have been so sick and tired of people prevalent in business and sports and how stupid those people are getting. Like we're in a point where like entertainment has become so essential to literally everything, that the the intelligence and the insight and the just the smarts the smarts that are often displayed in people in those positions of power and influence is going away so fast. So the fact that that much of a clown was running the whole thing felt very,
It was fitting, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it felt very satirically pointed. So I enjoyed how much of an absolute train wreck this guy was. Like it added to it for me.
And last question on this one, would you want to see more Happy Gilmore in some capacity?
Um, No, I think comedy golf movies have some form of a place um in straight to streaming releases.
Yep.
I wouldn't hate Happy Gilmore being a character in something like that. Like I wouldn't be mad to see if there's a golf comedy on Netflix. Happy Gilmore take like Post Malone's job, something like that. But I wouldn't be a super big fan of just a whole other Happy Gilmore sequel again. Like I think they've stretched this as far as it can go, as far as surrounding a movie around him. But I was quite entertained with the golf pros screwing around in the whole movie. It was very funny, and again, those golfers were good enough sports and self-aware enough that they made it funny.
I can buy that. There is a golf comedy on Apple TV that's also got some pretty soulful elements to it. It's called Stick, starring Owen Wilson. That one's pretty enjoyable. I recommend that one, and I would enjoy seeing Happy Gilmore pop up in Stick season 2.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Well, Aiden, I think that's all I have for this week. Next week, where do we want to take this? Kind of preview can we give our listeners?
I think we for Olympic rosters. I know we're snubbing the Czechs a little bit.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, though, I think for the Czechs, it's kind of just you pick 25 players and you hit shuffle on where they go.
Yeah.
And so it feels a little bit like there's just not any hard decisions we're gonna have to make there. You're
Okay.
gonna have Roman Chervenka make the team. But other than that, there's not even a lot of interesting like random guys that are gonna pop up. So let's go Canada, US, Sweden, Finland teams, and then I'll do another Instagram post with graphics of our teams um, as well.
Beauty. Well, I think that's all we have for this week. I appreciate everyone's patience in waiting during our hiatus. In fact, our hiates, as we said earlier. I had a great time hopping back on, chatting with you, chatting to our guys, and yeah, I think without further ado, we roll that outro. Thanks, guys.